Corey, your favorite, Matt Eberflus. Am I saying that right?
Eberflus. Yeah, I think he's a solid coach. He holds players accountable. One of the big things he harps on as a defensive coordinator was effort. They would go through and track the number of loafs on the field per game, and he would hound players on it. His defensive players seem to buy into it. But I will say the biggest knock on him as defensive coordinator is just he's really slow to make adjustments. And it led to the Colts defense giving up some really big games to some really not great quarterbacks. Guys like Trevor Lawrence, Gardner Minshew, Josh Johnson. And I will say a lot of people from the outside thought it was a little weird because, you have Justin Fields. You would think they want to develop him with an offensive coach.
Yeah.
There is also, it seems like a tendency of a lot of teams and owners to want to swing the opposite direction on a new hire. So you had Matt Nagy, who was an offensive coach, so they go the other way and get a defensive. It's like, I know it's a tendency, but it's something that you may not necessarily need to fall into. Maybe he'll end up being a better all-around head coach than just defensive coordinator. I mean, the Colts did have a top 10 defense this year. It's just that they struggled to close games. They struggled against bad quarterbacks. So we'll see. His OC hire is going to be really important. Luke Getsy from Green Bay, who is the quarterback's coach.
Yes.
I know very little about him. It's taken a big swing on a coordinator that he worked under LaFleur, Rodgers, and I don't know if he has previous connections to Eberflus or not, but that's I would have thought he might try to go for a more established guy. That's where I think a Jim Caldwell would have been a good hire.
Oh yeah.
But it's Chicago has to hope that it's the right hire because, I mean, their all-time leading passer is Jay Cutler. So you need to get this quarterback pick right. And we'll see if he can do it.
Yeah, Luke. Craig, what you got to say?
I like the hire as far as, if you had a quarterback that was a veteran and he was already there, he was established or whatever it is, I think it'd be straight. Or even if the defense was like really, really bad, but the offense was 30th in the pass last year, 24th overall in total yards. I think you just needed to bring somebody in that could help bring along Justin Fields. I'm not saying he can't do it, but I think maybe with the OC coming in, whoever that's going to be, I think who's it going to be?
Luke Getsy.
Getsy, yep.
It's just like he has no experience of being an offensive coordinator. The new head coach has no experience of being a coach, and the GM is new as well. So you got 3 new guys coming in, and it's just like, is that actually going to work? And then you have obviously Chicago, who's known for defense. I thought this was a great time to get then they had Nagy and stuff, but he's trash. But I just thought maybe they could go with an offensive guy and bring him in and hopefully get Fields up to speed and get him straight. But as far as the hire, like he's very detailed, he's very organized from what I've been reading. And obviously he's a really good defensive coordinator. So I'm hoping that this works out for everybody because I really want to see Fields prosper and I really want to see him come along and be a solid quarterback.
Yeah.
At the top pick that they traded up for, but I'm kind of iffy on this one. But like Corey said, I think it's because they went from offensive guy last time. Now they're trying something different with defensive guy, but it just would have been nice to have an established, at least an established offensive coordinator for Justin Fields.
Absolutely.
Minimum.
I wonder how long they will give him because ain't no free agents really jumping to go to Chicago. And so now the question would be is, I don't know their draft status or whatnot, but would they be able to pull Cincinnati? Because now the model is Cincinnati in this situation right now. A person who's never been a head coach before. You have a quarterback. Not to say Justin Fields is Burrow. I'm not saying Justin Fields is Burrow, but you have a young quarterback. And now it's like, what do you do to the draft? Because obviously they want to build through the draft and probably bring in a bunch of dudes that nobody wants. You're not going to bring in no big name free agents. So you're going to bring in a bunch of dudes who's going to be hungry, who's going to just do what you ask because they feel like this is some of their last opportunities, like kind of how the Bengals just did. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do this. But like y'all just said, it just if you're making this about Justin Fields, your moves are not showing that you're making it about Justin Fields. Like you're hiring, like y'all said, you're hiring a defensive coach who's never been a head coach before. Then you're hiring
Bo.
development. Yeah.
There you go.
It froze. Did y'all hear me about the moves they made?
Some of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now I was saying you're saying this about Justin Fields, but your moves doesn't speak to it. Your moves don't add up to it. You know, you're hiring a defensive-minded coach that's never been a coach before, and then you're hiring a quarterback coach to be the old coordinator when there's established minds, there are great offense coordinators out here that's on the market. But you hire a quarterback coach. I understand he coached Aaron Rodgers, but come on now. Are we really gonna make that the sticking point for the hire?
Yeah. I definitely agree. So we talked about this. We said the league is trending toward the offensive side. If you have a young quarterback, it's great for you to get an offensive-minded head coach. That's it, right? Besides, okay, Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes fits. All right. Zach Taylor, Joe Burrow fits. Sean McVay's offensive-minded head coach, whether it's Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, it fits. Kyle Shanahan, offensive-minded head coach. Fits, right? Buffalo has Sean McDermott, but Brian DeBall is a strong offensive-minded coach. So right now, Uberfest is putting all his money on Luke Getty.
Yeah.
Because if he would have hired Corey, right? If he hired Jim Caldwell, he would have straight. Caldwell's phenomenal.
Yeah, Caldwell, I think, did a really good job calling plays in Baltimore for that year. He has a long track record of working with quarterbacks. I think it would have been a very safe hire in a situation where Eberflus could like, hey, you largely take care of the offense. I got the defense.
Yes.
It would have been a smart hire.
Perfect, right? So now we know there's about good head coaches too. Like Tomlin's a good head coach. Tomlin delegates, which is good. You can say, listen, I have my things about Mike McCarthy, but Mike McCarthy delegates. Your offense, Kellen Moore. Your defense, Dan Quinn. I'm going to answer questions and smash watermelons. That's what he does. It's okay, right?
He delegates to the point that you wonder what he actually does.
Exactly. It's right. So, but he needs. So hopefully this works out. I hope he does. But he is betting a lot of money on Lugetti. He is. Yeah. He's betting a lot, and if it goes wrong, it could ruin Justin Fields' career, set the franchise back, and I mean people are going to get fired.
Chicago gave up a 1 and a 4 in this year's draft to move up last year to get Fields, and now he has a GM and head coach that has no ties to him.
So you think that he'll? Oh, you're right. This NFL's a dirty game. If they don't come out, oh man, they could.
You get through year one. Does Eberflus look around, try to find a veteran to think he can win with now?
Yeah. Or does he draft? What they say next year's draft class going to be great?
Potentially, a lot better.
A lot better, right? So he might, which is unfortunate for which is unfortunate for Justin Fields. I hope that doesn't happen.